Sam, you're meant to be live now, mate. You're meant to be live now.
Oh shit!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lamon Gaming Show with special guest Michael Oxlong, Benjamin Dover, and Michael Hunt. Hello everybody! Sorry, we had to restart the stream. There was a bit of an issue there, okay, but we are back. How's everyone feeling in the studio today? Yeah! I'm feeling good. If you're feeling good, then you're feeling good, then I'm feeling good. We've got a lot of news to do today. We've got EA news, EA Sports. We got Stadia news. We've got Stadia Meltdown news, I should say. We've also got a bunch of other news. All this and more after the drop, everybody. Let's have a good show! Okay, wonderful. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Hopefully we have some music. I know I keep saying that, but I'm on the hunt to make sure you guys have music, everybody. Okay, we'll get straight into it today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Now, first things first, evil EA. EA Sports. It's in the game. Now, we know EA's been evil for some time now. It's no real secret here, okay? It really goes back to 2011 or 2012 when Ultimate Team was actually put into FIFA. And then it was really made, monetization and loot boxes were really made popular by good old Overwatch. Now, we've been fighting the battle since 2017 when I really became aware of it, when I first jumped into good old YouTube and played Star Wars Battlefront 2 like you all did, and it was just a gigantic meme, as we all know. It seems like the lawsuits continue. Now, before we even get there, we know that the Netherlands and Belgium have had their own fight with loot boxes and EA. Belgium banned loot boxes. The Netherlands also actually went on to ban loot boxes within PUBG. It's just been one of those things where it's just a constant battle, and it's not only with the gamers and the publishers, it's also with the countries that are also fighting this also. Now, the interesting thing is, look, even with Chris Lee back in 2017, we had an interview with Chris Lee. He was the Hawaii legislator trying to get people's attention of this when Star Wars Battlefront 2 happened. But nothing really happened. This is the thing, right? Nothing really went forward. All right, a lot of people were aware of the loot box situation in the UK and the US. Now, in smaller countries, as we've seen with Belgium and stuff, things have changed. But when it comes to actual change in loot boxes, not much has happened. Now, we do know that there's a current investigation in UK and also in California with loot boxes, but nothing has really arisen from that yet. But today, another country joins the ranks. Canada, oh Canada, oh Canada. I don't know if that's actually the song, but we're going with it anyway. There's been a class action lawsuit that has now been brought about to EA in Canada from two guys. All right, they're fighting for our freedoms. Now, this is what the lawsuit's all about. The lawsuit is being brought against EA by two individuals who describe themselves as customers of EA. One is described to have purchased loot boxes from EA's Madden NFL games, while the other brought loot boxes for various NHL games. As a class action lawsuit, however, the action is being brought against EA on behalf of everyone who has purchased loot boxes in any EA game since 2008, which may mean a hefty payout on EA's part if the suit is successful. Two guys fighting for our freedoms. I do like that. Can you imagine if they won and they had to pay out all the money that has been made off loot boxes? In 2017, EA made $800 million alone off microtransactions to loot boxes. That's a lot of money. I don't think that's going to happen. But it continues. Like other class action lawsuits that have been brought up around loot boxes, the lawsuit cites gambling relevant sections of Canada Criminal Code to the loot boxes should also be considered a type of gambling. It also cites other international precedents, such as Japanese and Korean enforcement of loot box regulations, the Netherlands and the Belgium's recent laws against loot boxes, and the loot boxes inquiries in progress in UK and US. So as I said before, it was made popular by good old Overwatch in 2016, but it really wasn't until Star Wars that it broke the Tauntauns back. That's when we knew that we actually had to make some seismic changes. Now, as we were mentioning before, there's also a lawsuit in California at the moment. and ultimately it's over 100 individuals that are actually fighting this, led by Kevin Ramirez. Relies on creating addictive behaviors in consumers to generate huge revenues. But look, we are yet to find out what actually happens with that. Hopefully we do see a precedent. This is all about setting a precedent. Now, these smaller countries that have gone in and fought the battles against loot boxes, we've seen some movement, I guess, but in reality we need the UK, US, and Australia, because Australia's a massive player too, of course. No, but we need these bigger countries to really set that precedent, and kind of make those laws, because then there'll be a domino effect. EA, without all that money coming from loot boxes, microtransactions, it would just be a hollow shell of a company. It's so heavily reliant on currently its microtransactions and loot boxes and whatever. You know, we've done this story so many times, but just to reiterate, we know that this is their entire business. This is all they do. They're just evil, okay? They're extremely evil. But, you know, if there was to be any laws that did fundamentally change, I think that we would see seismic shift within EA. If EA really had to actually go back to the drawing board and start making games that were away from the casual, you know, attacking the casual audience with the FIFA Ultimate Team garbage and trying to put more and more stuff into games that we all know and love. They tried it in 2017. I'm sure they'll try it again. We have seen some good games from them. Of course, we've seen Apex Legends, which is a free-to-play game. We saw Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Rogue Squadron, which was also fantastic. They are capable of doing great games. But what they do is they just get so hung up on trying to make as much money as possible in the most evilest way that they kind of lose sight a lot of the time. There's a reason why they've won Most Hated Company like 3 times or something. Because they are evil, everybody. Speaking of EA, okay, we're doing the segment thing here. We're speaking of EA. Apex Legends launches on Steam on November 4th. I thought this was already on Steam. If I'm being honest, I actually thought this was already on Steam, but apparently not. It's coming on November 4th, which is, of course, really, really cool. I think, you know, Apex Legends has been one of those very few battle royales that's been able to actually stand the test of time against the fountain, the ocean of other battle royales that have tried to stay relevant. Like Radical Heights, that was very relevant. That's a very good game. Okay, Cliffy B, you did well there. But look, it is great to see that it is coming. The interesting thing also, if you are currently playing on Origin, all your progression will be ported over to Steam. That's, I think, really important. A lot of people would have felt like they put a lot of hours into Apex Legends. They don't want to feel like they've gone from Origin now to Steam and they have to start all over again. This just further points out to me that they're really looking to abandon the Origin thing, you know, the Origin launcher. There's no real sense to why it would be a thing anymore. One thing is in December we're going to see all of the games on PC for EA. So we've now already seen 60 odd games go onto Gamepath for Xbox. But in December we're also going to see a lot of the EA games go into PC. So when that happens, and on top of putting Apex Legends, their biggest battle royale game, into Steam, I'm just failing to see the relevance. What is the relevance of Origin? I'm not seeing it, you know. I really think that this is them just going, yeah, cool, it's not making us enough money, it's not giving us enough traffic, it's just better to do it without. So I'll just quickly, someone's saying audio out of sync. Hopefully it's not out of sync for everybody. Audio is synced for me. Okay, so there's just maybe 1 or 2 people. Let me know if you can hear me properly, okay? Hopefully you can. Speaking of, okay, I know we do a lot of speaking of Apex Legends, Switch delayed to 2021. That's a real shame. I like to play most of my games on Switch. I haven't played Apex Legends for quite some time, I'll be real. But if it did come out on Switch, which it is, I would be definitely very excited to play that on Switch. It's one of those games where, you know, it's easy to pick up, relatively easy to enjoy. But it is now been pushed back for them to work on it, and this is the actual quote itself. The team needs more time to do justice to the game and make it into the great experience which players deserve. Sometimes when they delay a game, it's sometimes a red flag, but this game's already out. So I think this is probably a good thing. If they need a bit more time to, you know, get the bugs fixed or whatever and make it as best smooth experience, that's good. Also, it's going to be cross-play. So you can play with other people around the world on different consoles and PC, which is great. It is, you know, a big issue with a lot of games sometimes when it is, like for instance, when I play Overwatch on Switch, There is no population at all. It's terrible terrible wait times. And on top of that, I'm always connecting with people overseas and all this kind of business. And it's just so slow. So to actually do crossplay and allow you to play with other people, it's very valuable. Very valuable indeed. So all your Apex Legends fans, watch out for that. That is coming in the future. Now, there's been a meltdown over the weekend. Okay, there's been a bit of a meltdown. Everyone loves Stadia, okay? We all love Stadia. Stadia's had a successful launch. There's no two ways about it. If you haven't heard of Stadia, then where have you been? Under a rock or playing good games? Either one. Now, Stadia, over the weekend, a lot of people thought that he was the head of Stadia, but he's actually just the creative director at SG&E Montreal Studios. He's part of Stadia, but he's not the head dude. Came out with some unpopular opinions. He came out and said, Alex Hutchinson said, streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they use music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. The real truth is the streamers should be paying developers and publishers of their games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. If you've ever heard a bad take, that's it. That's it right there. Music and movies are so different to gaming in terms of having to use the rights of something. Gaming is one of the most... So many people that are streaming, that are content creators, get the message out there about the game, any game. It doesn't matter what it is. Content creators, streamers in general, are the best marketing that any developer or publisher can get a hold of. Hands down, all right? Now, we've seen the terrible type of ads that other games try and do sometimes, and it doesn't work. The best way to advertise a game, the best way to work with the gaming community is to give it to, put it in the hands of successful creators and streamers that really have an audience that are loyal and are happy to listen to their opinion. That is the way to do it. So to make it sound like, developers are doing the streamers a favor by allowing them to stream their games is utter nonsense. Now, as I said, a very unpopular take in general. The Jacksepticeye actually came to the fight actually and said this: I find this extremely ironic considering you have fan art of me, a streamer, as your banner when I played Savage Planet. Booyah! You go get him, Jacksepticeye. Okay, and it wasn't just good old Jack, that came out with the unpopular opinions. Saying that he had an unpopular opinion. Stadia themselves, speaking to 9 to 5 Google, a spokesperson said, the recent tweets by Alex Hutchinson do not reflect those of Stadia, YouTube, or Google. Even the head of YouTube Gaming jumped in, okay? Now he said, we believe that publishers and creators have a wonderful symbiotic relationship that allow a thriving ecosystem to be created. One that has mutually benefit everyone. YouTube is focused on creating value for creators, publishers, and users. All ships rise when we work together. I couldn't agree more. There's just, look, I understand that there's maybe laws in place that the developer and publisher can enforce that. I know several years ago there was issues with Nintendo. Some people were getting copyright strike from Nintendo for playing some of their games or showing some of their games. But this would be a real issue if I felt that the developers were actually losing out here. They're not losing out at all. We know when Ninja plays any game, right? Fortnite, for instance. Fortnite's popular in its own way, but you cannot deny that streamers and content creators that constantly pump out material do not add to the marketing cogwheel, don't add to the marketing machine. A lot of these developers and publishers also spend a lot of money by getting these content creators and getting these streamers on board to actually stream their games. So they know the value of them. So this guy has the most unpopular opinion of over the weekend. Well, look, one of the tweets said, the name of the game of Twitter is to not be the main character, because when you're the main character, everyone's talking about you. That's very true. You do not want to be the main character on on good old Twitter. Let's do some super chats. I've missed a couple of them. Sam, you need to get online and buy Yong's new merch. You can buy yourself a new hat. I did not know that Yong had new merch. Well, that's £5. Thank you so much, Adam. Ollie for £15. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Good to see you doing something you prefer doing. This is the second time I've managed to see you live. Well, I'm glad to see you here, Ollie. I hope you're having a good time, my friend. Nando for 1,000 Huffleton points. Stadia is functioning on borrowing time, so of course it's looking to get favor points from publishers by saying what they want to hear, more money. The funny thing is, I actually don't even think that publishers want to even hear this. I think that publishers understand that there actually is a lot of money to be made by just getting content creators and streamers to stream the game for free. So I really feel like this is a lone wolf. I wouldn't even think that other developers and publishers are sharing this same idea. But you know what is pretty cool? Okay, the first custom PS5 faceplates have arrived, and they look bloody nice, everybody. Bloody nice. Now the name of it is PlayStation 5. I think that's the best name that we've heard all year. PlayStation 5. I really do actually think that's great. Now, we actually did see that you could, in fact, take off the actual casing of it in the PS5 teardown. Comes out on November 12th. It's shippable on November 12th. Now, there's some really cool colors here. Let me just show you the colors. There's going to be a red one, a silver gunmetal gray, a black one, a blue one, and a camo one. Really cool to see that we can actually do that. I think there's going to be all sorts of stuff that's going to come about from this special edition promotional material. New games come out and they're going to have those PlayStation 5 special styles. The new God of War comes out, you're going to be able to get that one. It's going to be great. I think that any customizable options you have with your console is good, because when for Switch, for instance, you feel like that's yours. You want to be able to do whatever you want to do with it. So to give you that option, I think is great. Instead of just having to put like stickers on it and all this kind of business, for you to actually be able to do, as he's doing now, fully take off the front and back, that is actually really cool. Very excited to see what kind of stuff comes out from that. On the train of DMCA takedowns, someone recently came to Twitter and asked CD Projekt Red a very interesting question. Cyberpunk game, will you guys have a streamer mode option to mute copyright music that is licensed for the game so content creators don't get DMCA? Cyberpunk said this: we'll share more details in the near future. What's good though, our soundtrack has been created from scratch. This includes all tracks from the numerous artists we work with. Their music has been made specifically for our game. This hopefully this will make it a bit smoother. Hopefully, there we go. We finally got there. Now, I think that's actually fantastic. To build it from the ground up is one thing. To have a lot of vocalists, I think they're going to have a lot of vocalists on this track. This is what it kind of sounds like. There's going to be a lot of people or artists on here that maybe have their own reputations already. And, with gaming in general, whenever there is gaming music on YouTube, it's kind of the unspoken rule that they don't really ever attack you for any DMCA takedowns when it's video game music. It gets a bit tricky, though, when there's vocalists involved. That's when it starts getting a bit tricky. Having said that, not all music on YouTube is safe. Final Fantasy VII music, for instance. I've tried to use it in editing before, and good old, Square Enix does not like that. So that's not always safe. But look, I think it's great for them to try and do that, to try and put something in place that allows people to use that music in reviews, in playing the game, of course, in streaming also. So it looks like they're on the opposite end here, good old Cyberpunk, doing the right thing and having the good takes as usual. They have stressed the point, though, which is important, that it says, their music has been made specifically for our game, making this a bit smoother, hopefully. So there's every chance that this doesn't go as smooth as we'd like. They want to make sure that our expectations are met properly. There are going to be some moments, I'm sure, where a certain song or whatever is going to be DMCA takedown. But, again, for them to try and really put that and really consider that is a good move, once again, from CD Projekt Red. Good move by JoyCons, Nintendo, I mean. Joy-Con to receive permanent price cut soon. We all know that there's been a big issue as of late with Joy-Con drift. Okay, a lot of people, till this day, 3 years later, 4 years later, are still having issues, of course, with their Joy-Cons. Looks like Nintendo's tried to bring this price in a little bit more in line. It's Black Friday every day now for Nintendo, ultimately, guys. Now it's $40. It was originally $50 US. Now it's $40 for a single Joy-Con. It brings it in line with how much it costs to buy 2 Joy-Cons. So if you are in fact needing to go out and buy a new Joy-Con because you're having issues, of course, with the good old Joy-Con that constantly breaks, I've already gone through 2 Joy-Cons actually. They do actually, they do break. They're not the strongest product that Nintendo's ever made, even though usually they'll make some fantastic stuff. So yes, so if you are looking for a new good old Joy-Con, that's what you can find now. It's going to be $10 cheaper for single ones to bring it in line with the current 2, which are still $80 or so. The interesting thing though is the grey one is still $50. So this only applies for the blue and the red one. If you want the grey one, it's still $50. It's not $40. It's unclear if they're discontinuing it or they just think that's the better color and they want to make you pay for the better color. Who knows? Another interesting one. Xbox chief hint at TV streaming stick for xCloud. Here's the thing. I think this is going to be very powerful. Very, very powerful indeed. We're already seeing xCloud permeate through the world. Not in Australia, of course. Not until 2030 when we actually have decent internet. But we have seen for quite a while now that xCloud has been on the cards. We've got more and more details about it. I'm extremely excited about what it's going to be for gaming in general. It's probably going to be one of the biggest stream gaming, not just Project xCloud, but streaming in general on your phone. It's probably going to be one of the biggest revolutions that we've seen in gaming for some time. Now, good old Phil Spencer has come out recently and said, I think you're going to see lower priced hardware as part of our ecosystem when you think about streaming sticks and other things that somebody might want you to just plug into their TV and go play via xCloud, says Spencer. You can imagine us even having something that we just include in the Gamepath subscription that give you the ability to stream xCloud games to your television and buying the controller. So look, I think that the biggest thing with a lot of people when they're talking about streaming is like, I don't want to play Halo on a little phone. Well, these kinds of options are going to kind of make that a moot point. If you're able to now play on a 65 TV with a little stick in the side or whatever, that's great. That's going to mean that you can play your games on your phone, also on your 65 or your 55-inch television or whatever you got. And at the same time, I think it's going to also, mean that cloud gaming is going to be more and more accessible. I also think we're going to start seeing it on, controls. At the moment, those smart TVs that have Netflix and Disney Plus and all this kind of stuff, it's all kind of on there. I'm sure we're going to see xCloud little button. It'll probably be integrated directly into the actual TV itself. We've seen this now, and I don't see why they wouldn't actually just integrate an app straight directly into it without having to put any USB dongle into it. That's all I think in the future. And I think that is very exciting. I'm certainly a believer of cloud gaming in the future. I do think it's going to have a gigantic effect on gaming, and I'm certainly very excited for it. Other things that I think are going to be absolutely revolutionizing gaming. Absolutely revolutionizing gaming. The Xbox fridge. Okay, it is a gigantic fridge that they've made and actually ship. Apparently Snoop Doggy Dogg has already actually received one of the actual Xbox fridges. It's a real fridge. It works. Let's open this thing up. Look at this. This is the Xbox Series X fridge. I really got to take my hat off to Xbox. All right, they made a meme a reality. That's not always easy. To make a meme a reality, you got to take your hat off to them. It's pretty damn cool. This is just obviously marketing. Comes out November 10th. Everyone's extremely excited for it. I certainly am. To see them finally embracing the meme. Embracing the meme is great. And look, it's a cheap marketing strategy, sure, but it'll do wonders, of course, for everyone to have a chuckle, to see that Xbox is on side for a good old laugh at themselves and are hip with the kids. Very hip with the kids. Speaking of being hip with the kids, Hideo Kojima is working on a new game, apparently. A new game. I don't know about you, I thought Death Stranding was absolutely fantastic. I loved every single second of it. Some people didn't love it. I know that, but a lot of people did. You know, a lot of people thought that MGS Kojima was going to be a one-trick pony in terms of he was only really going to be able to do that. Anything else he ventured out may not be as good. I know they're kind of harsh words, but I think some people were thinking that. I thought that this was, in my opinion, just as good. I loved it. I loved every moment of Death Stranding. Kojima Productions has confirmed that it's working on a new project and is hiring best-in-class talent for its Tokyo studio. Confirmed in on Twitter, the studio explained that a new project is in development and is looking to hire its best-in-class talent around for our Tokyo studio. Now, there's not a lot of information as of yet what it is, but this is what they have said. There are mentions of 3D model production for weapons, gadgets, vehicles, and mechas. Mechas, okay. Are we going to see some sort of Gundam wing thing? Evangelion, all right, see? I'm cool, I'm hip, I'm a weeb. I get anime, all right? So apparently, that's all the information we have as of yet. But of course, anything that they do next, I'm going to want to tune in for. It was an amazing experience. It was my game of the year last year, personally, but not everyone loves to hear that, of course. But maybe it's just going to be maybe it's going to be a rip-off. All right, maybe it's going to be Solid Eel. That was terrible. Solid Eel with a laugh. There we go. Thank you. Anyway, so we're all very excited for that. But guys, with that, that's ultimately it. We're really trying to get this show down so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, we're trying to get it under the half an hour mark. Under the half an hour, okay, mark. We got there. We got a few super chats, and we'll finish up. Then I'll be continuing to play games on Facebook. Hope you enjoyed today. I certainly did, everybody. Andemi89, £2. Keep up the good work, Sam. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are having a good day. Someone says in the chat also, Zone of Enders. Hopefully it is Zone of Enders. That was a great game. I have played that game back in the late 90s. Oh, was it PlayStation 2? It was PlayStation 2, wasn't it? It was PlayStation 2. Maybe it's Escaflowne. Oh, Escaflowne. Anyway, I won't sing too much, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in on YouTube. I'm going to be playing some Warzone on Facebook. I will see you guys probably Wednesday with more news, reviews, and discussions. Until next time, tune in to Lamon Gaming. I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you all so much. Quick, be right back, and they'll be playing on Facebook. I will see you guys Wednesday on YouTube. Lamon out. Have a good week, everybody.